この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りしました。
Yo, everyone, I'm in. This time we will discuss Blue Lock Season 2 in the manga version. Before we start, please support this channel by hit the like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get started. In the previous episode, Ryo shows off his new style to be selected as a regular player against the Japanese national team. He copies Yukimiya's Gyro shot and manages to score. In the monitor room, Isagi, Hiyori, and Nanase were watching the match in action. Isagi was amazed by the goal that was scored, Ryo's goal just now, and made full use of his dexterity to copy a move. This is the answer he arrives at in order to survive in Blue Lock. Then Nanase was surprised by Ryo's ability to copy other players, so he could be unbeatable, but Hiyori disagreed. He said, "No matter how skillfully you copy something, you can only reproduce 99% of its potential at best. If he tries to copy someone who's strong enough to push past 100%, he won't be able to win that easily." Isagi agreed and noticed, when Ryo copies something, it'll just be a lesser version of the original. And there are things like speed and height, things that can't be copied like physical characteristics. Isagi can't foresee him having any way to get past that, which means Ryo's copy is still an incomplete ability. And shortly after that, the match between Team A versus Team C was completed, 5-3, and Team A won. Ryo sat down on the field, and as he thought, it was not yet something that can win against the top 6. But he has definitely caught sight of the path he needs to take toward his evolution. Shortly after, Nagi came and said, "We ended up losing, but that was a nice goal. Copying the weapons of great players is such a thing to do, with your dexterity and all, it's cool." And then Ryo said, "But it's not enough, right? For the soccer that you wanna play? Then don't bother with me, you just keep waiting for me from above. I'm going to become someone you will to chase after, and I won't rest until I get what I want." The scene changes in the Japan Football Association top secret meeting room. Baratsuda Hirotoshi as Football Union president, and Hoichi Yasumori as the Japan team coach. The two of them are having secret discussions about the match that will soon be organized. Hoichi said to Baratsuda for the future of Japanese football, he will take responsibility and guide the under-20 team to victory. And of course, Itoshi Sae as an internationally acknowledged genius will participate in the under-20 match. Due to Hoichi knowing Baratsuda wants this match will turn big news into big money. While laughing out loud, Baratsuda said, "Exactly. Apparently, Itoshi Sae himself has taken interest in the Blue Lock project. Just as requested, we sent all the video data from inside to him. And what you know, Jinpachi then conveniently went and demanded a match. Which means, money making and dissolving Blue Lock. We're killing two birds with one stone." Suddenly someone entered the room, and it was Itoshi Sae and his manager. And then with a smile, Baratsuda and Hoichi greeted Sae who had just arrived. Sae asked his manager who the two guys were in front of him, and the manager nervously explained that they were the president of the association and the under-20 coach. And then Sae said, "Well, that speeds things up. Hey, you old geezers. I checked the videos of all those Japan under-20 players or whatever, they're all useless. Especially the forwards. They're a big stinking pile of insect turd. I agreed to join the team because I heard I'd get to play against the Blue Lock guys, but if this is the kind of school team level trash you're gonna throw me in, I'm backing out." With a shocked expression, Baratsuda said, "So you don't like the forwards? Then how about you nominate someone else you want? It can even be someone over the age." Hearing those words, Sae thought back, and then he said, "There's a forward in Blue Lock who I want to play with." In the third selection waiting room, Isagi was asleep, and after he woke up he went to the monitor room. After getting there, Isagi was surprised to see many players who had gathered. Raichi said that the third and fourth matches were over, and Isagi missed it because he was sleeping so long. Nanase said that he tried to wake Isagi up earlier, but he thinks Isagi was tired so he let him fall asleep. Then he told Isagi about the screen that displayed information on the previous match. On the screen, it is displayed if the match result of Team A has not lost any matches. Then Bachira and Baro managed to score, which meant they could keep up with the top 6. And now the final match is ongoing and it seems like it's almost over. On the field, Rin and Shido ran chasing the ball. Despite playing in the same team, they fought each other for the ball to score. Shido grabs Rin's face trying to hold him back, but Rin is able to kick the ball into the goal first to score. Game over. With a score of 5-4, Team A wins. Rin and Shido were knocked to the ground after the earlier fight for the ball, and as they got up, they started fighting. Both of them could no longer contain their anger. Shido jumped up and smashed Rin's face with his knee, causing Rin to get hurt. And again, for the second time, Shido jumped into the air and sent his final attack with his foot at Rin's head, which would have been extremely dangerous. But suddenly before that happens, Shido's attack is stopped by an electric shock that strikes his entire body. Shido collapses and lies on the ground after being hit by an electric shock. It turned out to be the actions of Jinpachi, who was in the control room. He used an anti-riot shock to stop Shido. And then he said, "The tryouts are over. 6 hours from now, I will announce the regulars for the match against the under-29 team." Expectations are spiraling, but only the results will speak for themselves. Among the 35 strikers who tried to prove themselves, who will be chosen for the under-20 match? There are 5 hours left until the 11 regular players are announced. All the players are now resting in the central dining room. Tokimitsu approached Rin to ask about the condition of his nose. Rin told him not to worry because he was fine, and Rin asked where Shido had gone. Tokimitsu said that Shido was sent to the punishment room, even though he was unconscious. At another table, Igarashi was nervously waiting for the announcement, wondering if he would be selected since there were 11 spots left. But Raichi suddenly interrupted him, saying, "You've got a snowball's chance in hell. You even making it to the 3rd selection is a goddamn miracle." Hearing that, Igarashi was upset, and said Raichi didn't make a single goal either, and the two of them fought with each other. Meanwhile, Isagi thought about his possibility of being chosen. "I did score a goal. Aside from the top 6, the only ones who scored beside me were Bachira, Baro, and Reo. If that's the selection criteria, then I've got a chance. And when it comes down to it, I don't even care which position. I just want to be chosen. I want to play against the under-20 players. In that place where I can change my destiny, I want to fight." In the control room, Jinpachi was busy deciding on the best lineup of the guys he had chosen, and shortly Andre walked into the room asking if Jinpachi had decided on his choice. Jinpachi said, "Yeah, too many cooks spoil the broth." In order to seize victory, there are 8 certain talents that get cut away. And then Andre told him that the president of the Japanese Football Association had called him to tell him something important. With 10 seconds left before the announcement of bluelock's 11 regular team players, all the players had gathered in the 3rd selection central room. And before long, Jinpachi came into the room and said, "Good work out there, you unpolished gems. I believe this makes it the 2nd time that we're meeting directly. Greetings. Football is a sport where you score goals. For starters, I will reiterate, goals are the entire reason a striker exists. That's why with the 3rd selection's tryouts, I decided to form a team centered around the one with the highest goal rate. Steel your hearts, and listen hard. I'm about to announce the 11 players who will play against Japan's under-20. First, the number 1 player, Itoshi Rin, with an average of 2.5 goals per match. This team will be centered around you in an aggressive offense-oriented formation. The type of team that might suffer 5 goals, but win by scoring 6. This is the only way a blue lock team made up of strikers can win. Destruction begets destruction. You will lead the team embodying this theme. And the following 10 players whose names I will call will become the ammo to escalate that destruction. First, the goalkeeper. Gagamaru Jin. With the ability to react to balls at an instant's notice, and overall flexibility, your physical attribute numbers make you the top candidate for a goalkeeper. You will be this team's guardian. Next, the two center-backs. Ryu Jubei and Nico Iki. A right-sided center-back that can overwhelm players with height and reach, and an intelligent left-sided center-back with high spatial perception and ball-stealing ability. And on either side of those center-backs, we will have two dribbles that boast speed and technique. For the right side back, Chigiri Hyoma, and left side back, Bachira Meguru. Moving on ahead of these four in the defense line, the midfielder who will transition to our offense, Karasu Tobito. As the player with the best ball-keeping sense in Blue Lock, with your analytical ability to see through goals, you will be the beating heart of this team. From here on out, I will announce the attackers. First, the ones who will tear down the enemy's walls from either side. The wings. Atoya Ida, and Yukimiya Kenyu. The right wing with the speed and stealth to get behind their opponent, and the left wing with the ability to overwhelm any opponent on a one-on-one. And finally, in between at the heart of the offense will be these last two players. First, the player who with his superior ball control, scored goals that went above and beyond the feasible, a brilliant outstanding talent. Nagi Seishiro. With Itoshi Rin at its center, this team's formation specializes in the aggressive offense. Meaning, it needs to be able to maximize Rin's performance. Among all the players who interacted with him, the one who was able to bring out the best numbers, who repeatedly coexisted, and asserted himself as Rin's shadow, and still had the talent to surpass and score their own goal as the ideal partner to Rin. The last piece is you. Isagi Yoichi. These are the top 11 who will face the under-20 Japan team. Blue Lock's 11. Isagi was excited after being selected as one of the 11 regulars to play against the under-20 team. While the players who were not chosen looked shocked, disappointed, and angry. Then Yukimiya raised his hand and asked the question to Jinpachi. Why is Shido not one of the regulars players? He scored plenty of goals, and he's in the top 2. Jinpachi said, excellent question. Shido Ryusei has an average of 2 goals per match during the tryouts, demonstrating the makings of a striker second only to Itoshi Rin. His behavior outside of matches cannot be overlooked, but it is also true that his physical abilities are extremely high. However, all the goals that he scored were a product of his own skill. In other words, during the tryouts, Shido was unable to spark a chemical reaction even once with Rin. And given that flagrant display of violence at the end of the match, if he were to do such a thing during the under-20 match, he'd get a red card, putting our team at an overwhelming disadvantage. So for those very reasons, I made the decision that Rin and Shido should not stand on the same pitch. And above all, none of you would be able to handle the egoist Shido. As I said earlier, all of Shido's goals were scored on his merit alone. Someone who could understand his thoughts and raise the level of his play does not exist within Blue Lock. Yukimiya said, but it would be a waste to not make use of his abilities. Jinpachi replied, indeed. That's why if this team were to find themselves in a pinch, he'd be a joker that would replace Rin. As a powerful drug that could completely reverse the flow of the game, his job would be to switch with Rin in a time of need. At least, that was the plan. But right after I'd finalized the roster, I got called. It was from Baratsuda, the president of the Japan Football Union. He said that Itoshi Sae was dissatisfied with the forwards in Japan's under-20. If we didn't accept Itoshi Sae conditions, he would refuse to play, and the match itself would have to be cancelled. In which event, Baratsuda threatened to simply go ahead and shut down Blue Lock. And the condition he had was that Itoshi Sae got to pick one person from Blue Lock to add to the under-20 team. Itoshi Sae chose not any of you here, but Shido Ryusei. Then Shido will play as a member of the under-20 team against us. Well, at any rate, this team was always going to center around either Rin or Shido. In my head, these were the only two viable options for Team Blue Lock. Itoshi Rin's playstyle involves his surroundings and synergizes with them, while at present Shido will not link up with anyone no matter who he teams up with. His playstyle is self-sufficient. They may both have an individualistic playstyle, but when pressed to choose between those two different egoisms, I chose Itoshi Rin, and Itoshi Sae chose Shido. As for which one of us chose correctly, which will be determined in 15 days, in front of the entirety of Japan. Additionally, including those on the bench, the team can register 23 players. The remaining 12 players have not yet been set in stone. Those of you who didn't make it this round, show what you can do and seize a spot on the bench. That marks the end of the announcement of the regular. There was a bit of an irregularity, but the stage is now set. If you lose this battle, Blue Lock will be dismantled, and your future will be crushed along with it. We have 15 days left. In that remaining time, in order to whip into shape a battalion to pulverize the Japan Under-20 team, you will undergo training to become a team. Venture forth with the resolve to risk it all. There is no longer any room for failure. Rin said to Jinpachi, "How lukewarm of you. To me, this match is just another stepping stone to becoming the best in the world." Then we can see the players getting fired up and looking ahead to the match with Japan Under-20. Jinpachi looked excited. "Excellent show of egoism, Blue Locks 11. We will now commence your last training camp." The scene moves to 3 hours earlier, showing Shido being punished and placed in a punishment room. His mouth and entire body were tied up. And not long after that, Itoshi Sae entered the room and came over to him. Then he said, "Blue Lock is a cage much too small for you. I will free you. I want your ego to go wild for my sake." Until here this episode, what do you think? Give your opinion about this episode. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to this channel, so you don't miss the latest videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.